Hey guys, Jill here. Welcome back to our spring garden tour, week 2, and I am really excited to hang out with you guys today. Much like last week, we have had storms blowing in and out, kind of overcast, even a little chilly this morning. So I got my cup of coffee out here with me, but it's really kind of funny. When I was talking to Nathan, I was like, man, not a lot has changed in the garden in a week. Like, am I gonna have anything new to show you guys? And then as I do my walkthroughs every night, I'm like, oh, actually some things have changed. So we won't be going into crazy details like we did, but I'll show you guys the new things I've added into the garden, the fun little friends we've added. And then I'm super excited. I picked up something free this week that is gonna benefit my garden, and you guys can pick it up for free and it's gonna benefit your garden too. So I'm super excited to show you guys that. So yeah, let's get started. There is another thing that we did. Thank you, Jesus, that we did it. And it has kept Tula out of my garden. And this was worth $1 million in the world to me. Did have to end up putting this hot wire all the way around the garden. And we're just super thankful that we did. It has kept all the dogs out. I will say it's not something that I really enjoyed doing and putting up in the garden. However, it deemed necessary. You guys know, had planted my squash and zucchini so many times. She had actually came in and like knocked down a bunch of my tomato plants and like broke them completely over to where I had to replant those. We keep it off whenever we're out here and the kids are out here, and actually they've all been shocked. All 3 dogs got shocked probably only like twice, and they don't even mess with it. So for the most part we leave it off, but we leave it up, and that seems to be working. So fingers crossed, no more dogs in the garden. I've started putting my tomatoes on trellises. I started that yesterday because we've got like 8 days of just strong winds and rain in the forecast. Unfortunately, yesterday was a holiday and not a whole lot of places were open. So I just used like whatever twine I had, which is really, really cheap and not good. So as I'm coming through here this morning, I've seen some of my twine has broke, meaning some of my tomato plants have ended up on the ground. So that's super unfortunate. I'll go through today. Nathan's got to go to town, so I'll have him pick up some good string trellis, some good string, and I will finish trellising up these. I do have 2 new varieties in this garden bed, so I'll show you guys what that is. I'd also really like y'all to meet Yogi the frog. He adds lots of zen to my garden. Isn't he so cute? This is one of the tomatoes I had to replace that Tula had broke. So I replaced it with a giant Belgium. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller, but I honestly think it'll be okay. Look at these pretty little things. And this one is just a classic beefsteak, so it's a big red slicer, and I'm confident that they'll bounce up as soon as they get in the ground and they have all that room to grow nutrients and grow roots. I think they'll perk up pretty fast. Surprise, surprise, I got distracted by the tomatoes, but we're actually going to start in this front bed. I am pleasantly surprised at how well my Brussels sprouts are still doing, you guys. Brussels sprouts, like I told you guys, don't do well around here in the spring because of how our springs are, but this spring has surprised me. I've lived in Arkansas for most of my adult life, and I'm liking what Mother Nature is doing. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think what makes me so stoked about growing Brussels sprouts is that Nathan's super excited about it. We eat a lot of Brussels sprouts, and so it'll be something that I implement more in the fall and the winter when I grow, but this for me this season was a total win. Look at those babies. Grow, baby, grow. So exciting. We do have some pest damage on them, as you can see. My Blue Beauty tomato that got eaten twice, I believe it was by a rabbit, and thankfully the rabbits haven't gotten in here, or whatever little critter it was. The hot wire has kept them out too, so that has definitely been a win for us too. But I didn't have any more of those tomatoes. I was so sad. Like, that was one of those new varieties I was really, really looking forward to. So I was a little bummed about that, but I threw in one of my tried and true Dr. Witchies. So that took its place, and I know I will not be sad whenever I'm eating a good tomato sandwich with one of those thick, yellow, juicy slices in there. But next year I know I'm gonna do better, and I'm gonna grow a Blue Beauty tomato. I actually didn't start any this year. I got all of mine from my friend Jess, and all of them got taken out by critters. I spy some blooms. This thing is getting quite big. That one down there is doing well too. Oh, I can't wait to walk through here and just have all this trellis full of cucumbers. Now these down here, if y'all remember, I started way later and I started by seed. So they're finally starting to pop up. And then I had to re-sow an Armenian cucumber, and these are finally starting to perk up too. So very happy about that. My lettuce, or my spinaches, are still going strong. They might be starting to bolt. I don't know how long I'll have them. So I'll probably go ahead and harvest as much of this as I can in the next few days, and then just put it up in the fridge and eat it and use it for juices and smoothies. Whoa, squirrel, look at that. Look at that. Oh, and there's another one. I love you, Tromboncino. I actually really do need to get this spinach out of here for the fact it's so crazy. I will show you this Tromboncino squash, how much it is growing compared to the Tromboncino squash on the other side of the trellis, just because that one has nothing planted beside it, so it's not sharing the nutrients with any other plant, versus this one that is. I think it's a really good visual to show you guys. Be mindful when you are planting things really close together, which you guys know in my garden I plant things close together, but this in particular, the base of this spinach and the base of this Tromboncino are very, very close, and you can tell that they're fighting for the nutrients in the soil. So I just think that's a really good visual. I'll show you guys real quick. Alright, so here is the Tromboncino that has nothing planted by it. It is just keeps climbing. Now I do go through and help vine it through. Look at these beautiful blooms. I mean, it has got Tromboncino all on this thing. It is absolutely breathtaking. So there's a good visual at how large it is. And then we come over here to this one that's quite a bit smaller. Still has lots of fruit on it, like still's got some, you know, it's still producing fruit. It's just not near as large as this one. And that is strictly just because this one doesn't have any nutrients that it's fighting for. So good little side-by-side visual for you guys. Also, look at this. I moved this out to the garden. It was just on the picnic table, but I thought it deserved a place out here. And if you guys could smell what I'm smelling, it is fantastic. Before I show you guys my lettuce bed, I thought there's probably something that I should tell you guys. As we go through this bed, you'll see lots of the tops missing from my lettuces that are starting to bolt. You can see this one back here that's turning into this beautiful lettuce tree. I wanted to let this lettuce go as long as I could. It is great, tastes fantastic on a salad. But I have not pulled it up because we had another little adventure on our farm. We decided to get meat rabbits, and we're pretty excited about it. I'll take you guys and show y'all at the end of the garden tour where they are and kind of the setup that we have going on for them. But those little guys, there's nothing cuter than seeing a rabbit eat lettuce. Like, it makes my day every single day. So I had all intentions of ripping this up like a while ago, like the last time I talked to you guys, and I couldn't do it because we ended up getting the rabbits that weekend, and they've just enjoyed the lettuce so much that I just continue to let it grow, and I come out here. So that's just what I'm doing. I'm gonna just continue to let it go and leave it out here until it's all gone and I fed it to them. With that being said, my lettuce trees look great. Yeah, so we haven't been eating any of this at all. We have just been coming in and ripping the tops off and feeding the rabbits. Now the chard, however, looks fantastic. I mean, look at that color. I absolutely love chard. And it's doing really, really well. Look at this pretty chard. Because I'm not sure if you guys remember, but it really wasn't that big last week. So I feel like it has just popped up a lot. We had all of this full of lettuce. This right here, if you guys remember those real head lettuces, we ripped all of those out and fed the rabbits. And then my girls planted these 2 tomatoes, and we have a giant Belgium and a Cherokee purple. So I'll just fill this bed as I take things out. I'm not really that worried. We have so many tomatoes that's not really what I'm concerned with. I may even, when I rip all of these out and feed the rabbits, I may even go through and just plant flowers in here and let this be a little pollinator garden, which I would really, really like, because I didn't really have a space in my garden for flowers. I've got the marigolds in the borage in the tomato bed, but aside from that, there aren't a lot of flowers. And so that's something that's really important to me. And I kind of debated food over flowers. And then I thought, flowers make me happy. And my kids would absolutely love coming out here to pick some flowers. And it would make my pollinator friends happy. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do in here. And that kind of makes me excited. So tell me, what flowers do you guys like growing? I have a ton. And it's just never really been anything that I have dug into. So I'm kind of excited to do that. This was just the rain that we got for a short time last night. So a little over an inch. I'll dump that out and see what we get today. There's something so beautiful. Sometimes I get wrapped up in what all is not done. And then I come out here on mornings like today and I realize there's so much beauty in what is going on right now. So I just encourage you guys, take a minute and really soak in the beauty and the hard work that you've put into your garden. Look at those. Who knew I would actually have beets, you guys? These are doing way better. So all of these still really aren't. For some reason, this half is really struggling, and they still are, as you can see. These have been eaten. A lot of those back there have been laced. You see the random carrots. I'm not sure how those got into my beet seeds, but I'm just leaving them. But then you come down here, and these are just really starting to perk up. I mean, I'm really pleased, like super pleased. I spy. Look at that. Look at that beet, you guys. I am so excited. I think this is the bull's blood. These leaves too are just gorgeous, so I can, if they survive, I'll just take it and saute those in the skillet too. My peppers are actually doing okay considering. Oh look, that one's even got a little bloom. Look, they got lots of little blooms. How sweet. Yeah, so they're doing well. That tomato, I guess I forgot to prune that one. Look at that. Take that, put that in some water, make another tomato. As you can see behind me, the beans are loving everything that's going on right now. The rain, the sunshine, the weather. I mean, these things are outrageous. So excited. Of course, this half is doing much better than this half because this is the one that I lost. I lost this half due to the frost and had to replant it, but they are starting to come up and they're doing really well too. So really, really pleased. Yes, you can see them all starting to pop up. Super exciting. Look at those blooms. The tomatoes down here are doing really well. Oh my gosh, look at this. I'm telling you, these, whatever it is that is destroying these, I'm gonna have to come up with some ideas quick, or I don't think my Brussels sprouts are gonna make it. I spy. Look at that. Yes. These are also starting to bloom out. and I am excited. We have these lined up all around our the back of our house, so these will be a pretty little thing to look at while I'm gardening. The thing I'm most excited to show you guys. You ready? You ready for it? My squash bed with squash, like good squash, good developed squash plants. Look at that one back there. I am so excited to show you guys this because this is such a win, keeping the dogs out. There's so many blooms. I've been hand pollinating, and I just really feel like this bed is doing some good things. So let's take a look. On a funny note, I had planted all these squash and zucchini several different times, and then once we put the fence up and kept the dogs out, I just went in and like raked it all level, and then all of these seeds that I had planted started coming up that Tula had dug and I thought were just lost hope. So I'll have to go through and separate those out. Those are way too close. But these in the middle, I'm not sure if they're squash or zucchini, but those are actually pretty placed properly to where I'm just gonna leave those. But let's look. Oh look, that one's double fused. I think those are always pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, they're good size. I started mulching. I didn't finish. It was so hot yesterday. That looks like a crookneck squash just full of it. Ooh, check out this. Nothing more than a pretty bloom. Look at that. Love it. Yeah, so these are doing great. Look how big this plant is, you guys. Wow, let's see what that is. That's a Black Beauty zucchini. And I think this one, yep, that's a Black Beauty zucchini as well. Who would have thought I'd be standing here in my squash and zucchini patch. You guys also know that I planted my cucamelons a ton of times. I kind of had just given up on them. I even told Nathan, hey, I just don't think we're gonna have cucamelons this year. And much to my surprise, when I got the dogs out of the garden, cucamelons started popping up everywhere. So I am so pleased. I think I'm gonna have cucamelons this year. Hopefully I won't look back and say that was a mistake for saying that. But some of these are like pretty established and I'm really, really excited. You know those one things that you just go out into your garden and you're like, I grew that. I was sitting here the other morning drinking my coffee, just looking around, and I was like, Nathan, I started everything in this garden from seed. He's like, yeah. I'm like, no, like I personally grew everything you see. There's something so powerful in that. And it just like gave me a renewed sense of hope. Like, man, this is why I garden. This is why I farm. This is why I teach my children to do this. It was such a proud moment for me. Sometimes, like I said, I can get caught up in what's not done. And that was one of those moments that I looked around and the garden was beautiful and it was full. And I thought, I did this. I did this for my family. I did this for my community. And that sense of accomplishment I felt was such a good day. And that is kind of how I feel with these cucamelons. I'm like, I grew this 3 seasons of being relentless with trying to grow these, direct sowing, transplanting, all the things. I finally made these things happen, hopefully. So hopefully later in the summer, they'll just be climbing this trellis and we can walk through and pick the most delicious thing you ever tasted. Check them out. Here's a little, these are like the cutest things too. Look at those little baby ones. That one's doing pretty well. I've got this little bitty guy. Then I've got like nothing right here so far, but I think that's okay. And then this little one's starting to perk up. This guy is huge. It is starting to trellis. I need to actually move it, teach it to trellis here, but look how big it's getting. Same with if I come all the way down here. That one's getting pretty big too, so definitely a win for me. My sunflowers are starting to, look at that little bitty grasshopper. They're starting to perk up, so that'll be. You guys remember I had quite a few spots to fill in my bush bean bed from our last garden tour, so I re-sowed those, and I'm happy to say that they all came up. I'm really excited about this bed too. Bush beans is just not something that I've grown in the past. I think last season I did like one bush bean variety and that was it. So just to designate an entire bed to that, and since I was able to plant so many different varieties, I am really, really excited about that. So I'll be curious how well they do. Okay, that wraps up the garden part of our tour, but I did want to show you guys something that I picked up for free this week, and then we'll go grab some lettuce and I'll show you guys the rabbits. But so when I was in town the other day, it's about an hour to me from like the nearest coffee shop. And I knew that Starbucks packages up these fantastic coffee grounds and gives them away for free. And the label says grounds for your garden, and it tells you how it works if you were to add this into your garden directly, and then it tells you how it works if you were to add it to your compost. It's something great. I remember I got some of these probably 3 years ago, and the bag was like maybe this big, like a really, really small bag. And then they decided to do these bigger bags, and so I pulled through the drive-thru because of course it wasn't open, like the actual walk-in store. I was like, hey, I kind of have a weird question. Do you guys have coffee grounds? Like, yeah, absolutely. Pull up and I'll bring you some. And this man comes out with like 10 of these bags and gave me. And it's just something really, really cool that they do. I really like that they go ahead and they put the label on here and explain to you like what all nutrients and all the things that it's doing for your soil, your garden, and your compost. So we put a couple of these around our blueberry patch. I went ahead and dumped a couple of these into my compost barrels, and then I've got the rest of them stashed for a rainy day. It's a really cool idea too. So I do garden consulting, and I just think it's really cool if I can go to someone's house and be like, hey, here's this, add it to your garden. It's just a really fun thing for me just to have on hand, and I think it's really, really cool that Starbucks does this. So you guys, go to your Starbucks, get some coffee grounds, put them in your garden and compost, and see all the great things that it does. So thought I'd share that little tidbit with you guys. Let's go grab some lettuce and let's go meet our rabbits. Say these are some lucky rabbits, huh? That's beautiful. I'd take that for breakfast any day. Oh, hello, furry friends. Look at those cuties. So the black one is one that we are keeping to breed. And then this pretty little tan one, brown one over here, is one that we're also going to keep. And these are going to be our main two breeders. Tell me though, have you ever seen anything cuter? Makes my day right here. So I will explain to you guys why we chose the meat rabbits and kind of the setup that we have them in. So right now they're actually in our old, this was a quail brooder. See if I can show you guys. And it had legs on it. Nathan cut the legs off. We have it, this is where our high tunnel is gonna go. So we have them on the grass, fertilizing it, and we're moving them every single day. They are on the grass and they can eat that. We are still feeding them rabbit pellets, and they do get lettuce every single day. But it seems to be working really, really well. We had the plastic laid down. I was doing that. That was just, we didn't have enough tarps. It was just kind of taking forever. So this seemed like a really good idea. We did originally want to do hogs, and we had some friends come out and look at our, they didn't think that we could move them around as much as we would have wanted to. And then they thought that they would just kind of destroy our land. I'm not sure if most of you guys know. I don't think this is actually something I shared, but we have been looking for our forever farm for quite some time now. This is not where we want to permanently be. We're trying to get the house fully remodeled, do a bunch of stuff, but we have been in the search for our forever farm for a while, and that hunt has still been on. We are hopeful that God has something for us out there, so we know that the wait is definitely worth it, but we didn't want to do anything that would destroy this land, that would turn someone else away from it, another buyer. And you guys know, if y'all have hogs, they can uproot a place pretty quickly. So we went to some of our friends' house, who we actually got our rabbits from, and they invited us over to have rabbits. And much to our surprise, like, they were really good. So we had grilled them on the grill, and they tasted fantastic. So we were like, you know what, we can do this. And they kept trying to encourage us for a few months. Like, y'all really need to get into rabbits. They're really easy. They're a good protein source if you're wanting to kind of supplement something. And so we thought, you know what, we can do this. So we did. We went in with our friends Sean and Melanie on this, and they're also trying to replace their protein sources, just do as much on our own farm as we can. And so we will see how it goes. These rabbits are 8 weeks. You're supposed to butcher them, I think, at 15 or 16 weeks. Ideally, they should be around 5 pounds. So we will go through that whole process with you guys, show you guys, tell you if it worked, if it didn't work, what we liked, what we didn't like. But we are excited right now to have these little guys on our homestead, and it has been really, really fun for me to watch the girls interact and take responsibility with them. So if you're looking for an animal that you're really wanting to teach your children with, I have been pleasantly surprised. So my girls are 10 and 5. Obviously Ivy doesn't count, but the 2 older ones, I have just enjoyed watching them interact, care for these little guys. So that has been really, really fun for my mom's self to be able to see that. So that wraps up everything that is new and happening on our farm. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, for exploring the garden. I cannot wait to show it to you guys next week and see if there's anything new. Maybe that rock will be hauled, because I don't know if y'all noticed, that did not happen. I'm gonna blame it on the rain. That's what I'm blaming it on. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to y'all soon.